Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I had a feeling you'd be here because Cheryl's like having travel hell. Were you scheduled for today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought Cheryl was back and I know she's having some traveling challenges today. I saw her post on
Oh, I
that.
saw that too. Yeah, it's not very fun.
No. Well, she's just been through the ringer for first her brother, now her mother-in-law.
Yeah, I know. That's not fun. All right. All right. Hi, Bonnie. How are you?
Well, I had a full roster of clients, but then I only ended up with one. So,
Well, that's kind of very nice, isn't it?
no, because I bought a house last week. So,
You did. And
You found one
yeah.
in the neighborhood you like that you could afford?
Well, mortgage is half the price of renting, so it had to go that way. And so I settled on Tuesday. By Friday, I had financing. By Saturday, an accepted offer, and now it's just waiting for my ex to do his stuff, whatever he's got to do.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I am
that's really
scared
great.
out of my mind, but I mean, life has to go on.
Yes, it does.
Just has to.
Exactly.
So whatever I need, well, I don't know exactly what it looks like yet, but
Forward.
yes, absolutely. There's no going back. It
Well,
was
Exactly.
the best option of everything available, and there was only one option, which I love.
well, I mean, but from where you were 2 weeks ago when I coached you, I mean, seriously, we
I
really need to
know.
celebrate you because
Yeah, flabbergasting.
you really should be celebrated because you took action and you could have sat in that place and you didn't. You found action. So I'm celebrating you in taking ownership of your life and moving
Thank
forward.
you. Thank you. And I have my name back.
Ooh, okay. So what
Yeah.
is your name? What is it? Ayote?
Yeah, my maiden name.
Ayat?
Yeah. I
Ayat.
never should
What?
have left it.
Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
In more ways than one.
Now I just need 20 pounds back.
No, I'll give it to you.
Only if I can put it where I want.
Yeah, I got the menopause, the post-hospitalization menopause weight gain. So yeah, it's like when you're immobile, let's just hit you with menopause. So you can't work out. And when you almost die, you're like, I get to eat
Nobody
chocolate.
warned me. I thought, oh, hot flashes, no problem. I'd had them from the time I was 30 something. Those
Yeah.
weren't hot flashes. I don't know what these are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Mine didn't
It's
start till I was 56.
No,
So
I went literally, I started and stopped right on the nose for what the averages are. Exactly.
mm.
12 years old and then 51.
So I didn't start till later because of athletics, because I was a pretty intense athlete. And so I didn't start till I was 15. So they say when you start late, you end late.
mm.
Yeah, I was right on time. I was pretty athletic too, but as soon as I hit menopause, I don't know what happened. And I don't know if it's lasted because I never got back. But all of a sudden, it was like somebody pulled the plug and all my energy drained out.
Well, imagine having that happen while you're recovering from the hospital. So I like people say, "How are you feeling?" I said, "Well, I don't know if it's menopause, getting older, or recovery. So it's one of those."
Exactly. The biggest loss for me right now is that my skin doesn't take makeup. So it just does not. So I haven't found a solution for that. I can't paint the barn, so to speak.
I
I can dye the hair.
I use tinted moisturizer and that gives me just enough.
That's what I use too. I use
Yeah.
Bare Minerals tinted moisturizer is what I use.
Well,
It's
maybe
SP.
that would work.
They can match you if you have like an Ulta or Sephora near you. They can help match your skin color.
And I
And
use Josie Marin and
oh, your skin looks great.
it it yeah, and I mean and my skin was really dry, which is what had me start doing that because I just could not get enough
Wow.
moisture in it. Even in Florida, like it was really wild. Because it's like always muggy and humid. But yeah, give that a shot, see if you like that. And then you could always, like it's my computer, I don't know what's happening. It's you could build on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
'Cause
just do, I
then
just do
it's
it.
fairly clear. It just doesn't, anything on it makes it look like Mars. So,
Yeah, got it. And I have to stay away from like powdery stuff because otherwise
Yeah.
it,
Yeah, but yeah.
yeah. All right. Okay, so how are you guys? Good weekend?
I'm back. I'm frustrated because I went to work in my workbook and I don't know if I didn't save it correctly and everything's gone. And so I have to start from scratch. So I
That
think what,
Yeah.
I think what happened was I had it open the whole time. And so I thought it was saved. And when I closed my laptop and, cleaned up Chrome, so I have to start the entire workbook from scratch again.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to tell you that because I had the same problem. So make sure you
But
save it on your desktop.
I did. And I'm a
No.
techie, I should have known better, but anyway, so I'm starting over on it.
Oh
I
no.
was trying to catch up today and then I have to start over, so I just decided to let go. And I haven't had a chance to do the EQ survey yet because I haven't had 40 minutes.
Okay.
Today, I haven't had 40 minutes today. And if I did it, I'd be squeezing it in, and I know that's not the way to do it. I need to do it when so I should have time this week to do it.
Okay. No worries. We're not going to go over your results because you guys are going to
Do that with Cheryl.
and meet with Cheryl to do that once she gets your results. So once you get your results, make sure to schedule that appointment with her.
Yeah.
Today we're just going to
get some
talk.
kind of result because I don't have a result yet, and I had missed my appointment with her, the first one-to-one.
Mhm.
My internet wasn't working, but I haven't gotten any notification that my assessment is complete or anything.
Yeah, you should have received an email after you completed it to check maybe your spam. And then what's going to happen is she's going to get the instructor version that's going to be more lengthy, and she's going to go over that with you.
Huh.
So just take a look when you can and then see. Um,
I don't have anything, any notification that I completed it at all.
Check your spam folder.
I
Yeah.
did.
Mm.
I will look when we are on break what the email, like what the title of the email is, like who's the sender, and then we could check it that way.
Okay. I did get my vision and my mission out finally after this weekend. Oh gosh. It's
That's
so
great.
hard.
It's good. That's good news. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about EQ for coaching mastery. So I'm going to show you guys today a someone else's result, and we're going to go through it a little bit. In what to kind of give you an idea of what the results look like and then what to expect with Cheryl. And then and so the way the scoring works is that there's like a major component and then there's subcomponents known as subscales. So we're going to talk a little bit about what each one of them means, right? And Cheryl's going to go in that for you specifically as to what your results show and how you can improve them. So kind of take this as a precursor for what she's going to share with you on the phone. Okay, so and then
Just a quick question. There's no chapter 6, right? It goes from 5
so
and nothing last week, and then this week we're working on chapter 7.
I don't know what they're numbered. I'm going to be honest because I was a little confused. So I have them based on the title. So this is the EQ for coaching mastery. I still have it as chapter 5, leveraging EQ 2.0 assessment for coaching mastery. I'm going to show
No, I
you.
have
I have
crafting.
this, yes, you are correct. This is what I have the same thing, Bonnie. There is no chapter 6 because, so I think it's I don't know if there's just no chapter 6 because they didn't
There's
want
no-
to,
there's
they
no
wanted, yeah, because they want to keep them aligned, number-wise, classes and chapters, I'm guessing. So I don't have a chapter 6 either.
So this is what we're gonna cover. It
Because I
looks
don't
like,
have anything on the EQ.
do you guys
Leave it- No.
okay. I didn't
Let me see
go
if, let me
yours.
check chapter 5. Hold on. Hold on, let me
So
get
just
down.
look for
Crafting effective coaching session agreements.
right, which is what we just went over last class.
Yeah, so we don't have the document that you are have
Ignore-
in front of you.
Ignore this part right here.
Yeah, that should be 6, but we don't have it at all. The next one is building trust, safety, and rapport,
Okay, give me a second then.
which is what class 7 looks like. It's
Yeah,
emotional intelligence.
over
Remember,
that.
that's weird because this is class 6.
6.
Yeah, ignore the class numbers. Because
Ah,
what's happening is the mentor classes come in there too, so it kind of like shifts things around.
Yeah, this is our 7th session, but it's our 6th chapter.
Yeah, so give me 1 second. Let me just
Oh,
ask.
headbending. Okay, so it's just not, yeah, it's just not in there.
Um,
Let me go into the form section and see if I can see it.
okay, I'm gonna have them confirm that it's available. I just told her. So for now, I'll keep it up on screen so you guys can see what that looks like and what the heck I'm talking about. And we can go from there. And I'm gonna wait for her to respond and see what that looks like. And part of why on my end, I just downloaded them once. And then every time I go into your class, it re-downloads everything onto my desktop, right?
Yeah.
So then I get confused. So I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. So let me see what she said. She's saying it should be in UpCoach. So let me just take a look in UpCoach 2 seconds and see if I can find this for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
for
in
some
our,
reason, our class has had lots of document issues.
Let me
yeah,
see.
there's no, and so if I look at my drive, I only have up
Mhm.
to chapter 5. I only have the most current documents. I don't have any of the future documents.
Okay, let
Um,
me. And this is cohort, right?
Cohort 4 or 3? I thought we were 4, but I don't know.
You're 4, yeah. Okay, let me check.
Yeah, it goes 5, 7.
Chapter 1.
To resist the urge to try to scroll on your document.
That's so funny.
Like, why isn't it going? And I realized, because it's not on my screen.
Okay. Okay, I let her know so she could just take a look right quick. Because there's the assessment. Actually in the chapter. If I go into the chapter. Course schedule, mentoring. Chapter 3. So also the thing too is that when you guys start the class, so let me just go into the class right quick. You have to start each module in order to get it. So if we go to class 6, emotional intelligence for mastery, if you start the lesson, let's see if it pops up.
Nope, it's not part of it. We can see what the documents are,
Yeah,
even if we haven't
yeah.
started the lesson. So
Uh-huh.
all it says is assignments. I mean, I can share the screen to show it to you, but it just
I've got
says
the exact
assignments.
same.
No, I'm in there right now. I'm looking at it.
Down below too, where it says like what's coming up next, there should be a join now button too, and I don't have that in my version. I wouldn't The only reason I can log in at all is because somewhere on my computer, there's an open calendar. And if I click on things till I find it, I can get the link through that. But other than that, it's not showing up on my Up Coach.
Okay, then I'm gonna stop sharing. She says that it should be in there. So what I'm gonna do is in this chat, I'm going to attach it for you so you guys have it. And that way she's gonna take a look and see why the documents are missing because they were uploaded and there has to be something within the system that keeps doing that. So give me 1 second. See if I could attach it. Leveraging.
This is a glitch 3-4 times now. It's a pattern. So
Yeah, so she might want to look and see if this is what she wants to keep, right?
from what I understand from a different cohort, they've got a system out of Canada that's got a pretty good price point that has pretty much everything in it except your telehealth. And then Docs Me or whatever it's called is a free service that a lot of people use for video.
Okay, I just sent that to you guys. It's in the chat. Let me know if you can't open it.
It's weird because it says chapter 5, so I don't want it to overwrite my other one.
Exactly. That's why I
didn't
just,
think
like I
that.
said, ignore the chapters because I
No, I know,
also
but I gotta put it. Okay, let me
I don't
yeah.
know. I
have
did
it
that.
titled as Class 6, Chapter 5.
Yeah, I'm just putting it into chapter 6 folder. I've been creating like a folders of them.
Or it's a longer name.
Well,
So
I'm putting them.
overwrite.
I have an emotional intelligence, and then I have like chapter each week in the folder.
Okay.
Okay.
Didn't
Okay.
overwrite. It had a longer name. Thank goodness.
All right. Let me just, before I forget, just take attendance. All right. Okay. So you guys have that chapter now.
Yeah, it's a long one.
It is. It's a long one indeed. Okay. Let me. Yeah, we were just saying,
You can see sort of the categories then.
okay. So she said she's gonna look into it because she says that they create each cohort separately. And so the fact that the documents are going missing is not very good. So she's gonna take a look in to see why that's happening. Okay, let's carry on. I need this. Don't need that. All right. So, we're going to talk about emotional intelligence. Well, before we do that, anybody have any questions? Need anything other than the document showing up, which we kind of handled? Everybody good? And just so there's no surprises, Allison, you're going to coach today. You're going to coach
Yeah, you
Bonnie.
told me that last time.
And
Yeah.
then Bonnie, you're going to coach on Wednesday, okay? So, okay. So you guys all set? You're good? All right, perfect. So, we're going to talk about today how to use emotional intelligence to master your coaching skills. So, and also how to leverage the assessment, right, that you guys took in order to do that. So, we're going to go through and get some assessment results and how, like I said, we're going to talk a little bit about what that would mean for somebody. So the assessment is a scientifically validated tool that they're using to give feedback from a coaching standpoint. And so you'll receive a client report for your results through this course. And then should you administer the assessment, then you would get the coach result. And there'll be a little bit more insight into how they score, and also it'll give you insight on how they could develop that area. And so once you take the assessment, you'll see that the assessment really goes, there's a range of emotional and social skills that they try to pinpoint to see where people are in it. And so it's not just emotional skills, it's also going to be like a social component to it as well. So, and it's going to be about how we perceive ourselves and also how we express ourselves. So ultimately, it's all about communication. It's all about social skills. It's all about the emotional part of it too, and how communication is really going to be the key part in achieving a really high emotional intelligence, right? So it's going to be like how you feel it, but then also how you respond to it, right? So it's going to support people. Emotional intelligence supports people in maintaining really positive, good relationships. It has them cope with challenges. It cope with challenges effectively. And again, how we react and how we move through life. So for coaches, it offers deeper insight into our own emotional intelligence, which will help us recognize our strengths and also our areas for development. So, and it also directly ties into our clients. So you will see as you, whether you take it or you administer it, you're going to get some insight for yourself. And also you'll get the insight for the client, right? So it can help the coach-client relationship and also the progress that is happening when the coaching sessions, for your coaching sessions, and it may actually have your coaching sessions become even better, right? Like, especially if you have a client that's struggling, this may be something that you want to provide so they have some insight as to different steps that they can take or different points of views that they could have. So you'll see the way that the emotional intelligence is scored is that, like I said, there's a main and then there's subscales to that point. And those are all added together and it'll give you a happiness score. So on your report, you'll see that if you score higher in some scales, you'll score higher in scales based on the subscales that you tend to be happier, right? So and because you're emotionally aware, right, you're building the relationships, you're communicating with emotional intelligence, you're also reacting to other people's emotional intelligence in a way that is positive and that will also help your clients. So sorry, I meant to share my screen. Well, you guys have it now, so that's okay. So what we want to do is first, this whole thing starts by just building rapport, right? And we want to facilitate growth, right? From building rapport to facilitating growth and everything in between. So it's going to empower us to be more present, to actively listen. And by us doing that, and by us not passing judgment, by us recognizing our own emotions and how we're communicating to our clients, it's going to help them grow, right? And it's going to help them make plans. It's going to help them remove obstacles. We're going to be able to pick up on their energy level, which is key because people who don't have a high emotional intelligence, I like to say they're kind of socially inept, right? They do not pick up on the cues that people are giving, right? Have you ever had a conversation with somebody is like, and like, they're just looking at you like, would you please stop talking? Or you may have been on that end of like, just like, can't this person see that I'm in the middle of 50,000 things and like my body language says it all? That's what we're trying to get our clients to see. But in order for us to really be Switzerland, like I like to say, we have to recognize it in ourselves when we're going to get activated, right? And so ultimately, we want to have a good emotional intelligence so we can regulate our emotions. So when our client brings something up, like we talked about this before, when you get activated with a client, I look at that as an area of growth, because it doesn't mean that we're going to be robots and nothing's going to bother us. What it means is that we have a different mindset around the things that do bother us. So if you have something that happens, you're able to handle it better. You're able to, in the moment, not be reactive. You're able to give plenty of space around it. So we want to make sure that we're showing them, we're the example for it too. And the way that we really do that is outside of our interactions with our clients, we're doing that with people in our life. So like, think of one person in your life right now that you know activates you a lot. Do you have that person?
No, because well, yeah, well, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think about my friends.
Yeah,
Yes,
right? Just even if it's something small, like the way that they chew, right? And
right.
after a while, it grates on you. It's like nails on a chalkboard, and you're like, oh my God, I can't take it anymore. Right? That's what we're trying to not have ourselves get to.
It's hard for me to think of that except for, family that drives you crazy because I have such a chill attitude about like my threshold is really high for
I
whatever
have
reason.
one, my ex-husband. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but think about that, guys. The fact that you don't have that many means that you already have awareness around how your relationships go and what people you should lean into and the people that you should limit. And that's what we're trying to have our clients understand. And without emotional intelligence, our clients are not going to get that.
Well,
They're
that's
going
what I'm
to
dealing
pattern,
with two clients right now. Is like they don't have emotional intelligence. They don't realize how they're coming across till we did the 360.
right?
And it's like, I'm trying to get them to be more curious and let people be seen, heard, and valued, and not just say, even if you get to the same answer, I want you to trying to get them to take a different journey with them.
Right. Right. So the reports that you're either going to give or take, this report that we're talking about, is actually going to allow us to go through each area of their life of how they would interact and see where the emotional component can be increased, where the emotional tolerance or behavior, whatever, however you want to describe it, can actually improve. And we're also going to talk about how it connects to the core competencies and the ethical guidelines. Okay. So when we talk about utilizing EQ for coaching development, so this is the first page on there, we want to talk about how higher scores directly correlate with empathy. Right. And so we want to make sure that as a coach, we're sensitive to our clients' emotions, that we want to make sure that we also, if there's an area of growth for them, that we're also assertive, right? We want to be empathetic, but we also want to move them forward, right? So there's a balance that we need to find within ourselves to be able to do that.
Yeah,
So
I saw that section reading. I didn't really like the word assertive. I found that like I don't know. I felt like it was I think you need to take a stand for them.
yeah,
Um
sure.
but the word assertive was like it seemed a little aggressive of a word for me. I was surprised that that language was used in there.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, and however, I
Yeah,
understand why they used it. Whatever resonates with you is totally fine, as long as
yeah,
you get the concept of what they're trying to say.
yeah,
So as far as EQ goes, there are 5 basic skills, right? And then from those basic skills, there are 15 sub skills. So the 5 are self-perception, right? Understanding our own emotions, like for self-awareness, right? Self-expression, so how we can communicate effectively. Interpersonal relationships, so and this helps gauge our ability to develop and maintain strong relationships. And ultimately, that will lead to creating a supportive coaching environment, right? Decision making. So, decision making is going to be one of those that is crucial and is very difficult for people. What we want to do is have information that will help us effectively make decisions in the moment, in a coaching sessions, right? So whether, with our client around their emotions, around their goals, I want you guys to think about it as that moment when you're gonna speak and you're gonna give them a question, what question you're gonna have come out. So meaning, what's the next question that you're going to ask based on what you heard? And how you heard it is going to influence the question that you're asking, right? So we want to, when we are in a high emotional intelligence state, then our reaction is going to be more balanced than, and it'll allow us to make a solid decision as to what we're going to ask, as opposed to being activated from whatever it is that they're talking about or whatever the circumstances are, and being reactionary with our question. So, and then the fifth one is going to be stress management. So it's the ability to remain calm and resilient under pressure. So I know all three of us on this call right now have so much going on. It's so easy to go into the negative zone. It's so easy to like just say, I'm done with all of it. It's so easy to give up. It's so easy to pass judgment, right? Because life always has something going on. But in order for us to just really, like I say, stay Switzerland, recognize like, oh, I get it. That's what's happening right now. But I need to be present here. And I need to be okay with whatever's happening. I may not like it, but I'm not going to let it influence me. Right? So, we want to make sure that our emotions are not going to take over, that we're going to be, of sound mind and provide stability and support for our clients and not make it about ourselves and what we're feeling. Okay. So there's also going to be, so when you look at your assessment, you're also going to see how you are as a coach, right? So there's going to be specific areas that enhance our coaching, and we can align them specifically with the ICF core competencies. So active listening, number one, right? The more you develop your active listening, that's going to be associated with core competency 6, right? You're going to be able to leverage high emotional self-awareness, so that way you can lean into the small little nuances of your client's conversation, of your client's communication, right? You're going to be able to pick up on small little cues for them. The second is going to be facilitating client growth, which is part of core competency 8. So you'll be able to draw on strengths in empathy and interpersonal relationships to foster that safe space for them, right? So that way you'll be able to explore and come up with action plans for them. Also managing progress. So managing progress and accountability, their core competency 11, and that will be your decision making and your problem solving to get awareness, and so that way they can have progress on their goals. There's also going to be upholding professional standards. So this is our core competency number 1, right? So that we ensure our independence and self-regard is at the foremost, right? It's balanced with the social responsibility and empathy that we have. So we're not going to overstep boundaries. We're not going to spill anything about ourselves onto the client. We're not going to push anything that we think onto them. And we're going to maintain ethical standards at all times, right? So those are really the main ones that are part, but there are a lot of them that are going to associate or connect with the core competency, I should say. So let's see. Any questions up until that? Makes sense, right? All right. So one of the things that we want to look at is lower score when it comes to self perception. So if you have the document open, well, let's see where we are. So we're going to be on page 2, right? So lower scores on there means that you need to really develop your connection to your own emotions, right? If you have a lower self-perception score, you're going to want to, the more you recognize your own emotions, then you're going to be more attentive, right? You're going to be more present. You're going to be more in tune with your client. So if you also then, when it comes to a higher score, and you're in tune with your emotions, then you're going to be able to provide a strong presence for them, right? Coaching application wise, it says a coach with a strong self-regard and emotional self-awareness can model emotional literacy for your client, helping them recognize and articulate their emotions, right? Detect nuances as well. When it comes to self-expression, a lower score means that a coach might struggle expressing thoughts or maintaining your emotional expression, which is a hard one, depending on what your client talks to you about, right? So you could impact your coaching relationship if you can't maintain your composure, right? I'll never forget, I had a client within the first 5 minutes of our conversation, he was telling me how he has, when he gets bored at work, he'll literally just turn on porn. It was the last thing that I thought that was going to come out of his mouth. And I literally, in that moment, was like, how did I just react? Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just didn't expect it. And it really threw me off for a second. I was like, what is happening right now? Right? And so I would have 1000% jeopardized that relationship if he felt that I was passing judgment on him, just because of my expression. And I could really care less what he does, but he's saying he doesn't want to do that. So I'm like, all right, let's go work it out, right? So we want to make sure that we are staying really in tune with what we're thinking, and we want to manage our expressions around stuff. And so if with a higher score, it means that then you're able to articulate your thoughts, your feelings, and your client will be able to mirror you, right? So you're sorry, did I screw up? I did. The higher score as far as self-expression, that's where we are. Yeah, self-expression means that you're going to be bold and you're going to ask the questions that you need to ask. You're going to provide the insight if there is something that really just needs to be said. And you're going to also in turn then encourage your client, right? You're going to encourage them to express themselves. And there's going to be areas in their life where they don't feel free to be able to do that. As far as interpersonal composite creating trust, a lower score there is going to highlight areas for social responsibility, right? Developing social responsibility and interpersonal relationships. Again, this is where you're going to want to create trust and intimacy with your clients. We want to be able to do that, because if we don't have that, then we're not going to really have a very easy relationship where they're going to be able to feel like they could tell us anything, right? So we're going to have a really hard time having it, having a successful relationship with that. So we want to know, yeah, Allison.
I'm confused when it says social responsibility. What does that mean?
So for me, how I take that is how you, what's the word I'm looking for? How you carry yourself around others, right? So like when you think about how you interact with people, how you present yourself in, you know, even like on social media, great example, right? How are you socially responsible? What are you communicating to people outside of yourself? What does that look like? Right? So as we have, personally, I believe we have a certain responsibility to like carry ourselves a certain way and use a filter for what would support people and not tear people down. That's how I take that. Does anything else resonate with you guys?
Well, social responsibility from a psych perspective is understanding in attachment theory that we're raised in a tribe.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
so everything that you do impacts your tribe.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're a monkey and you do something against the tribe, the monkeys will kill that monkey
Yeah,
because they're draining from society instead of adding. So we've
exactly.
evolved beyond that, but basically, yeah, it's just understanding that everything you do either feeds or detracts from your tribe.
Yeah. So that's why I bring up social media, right? Some people feel like they have armor and they'll go after people on social media and say things that they would never say to people in public. Right?
Yeah.
For
Oh
me,
God,
that's
yeah.
the best example of like, all right, you're not being a good human. Your emotional intelligence on that point is a 0. It may even be in the negative. So cut it out, right? Exactly.
Oh, you're reminding me. Yeah.
Sorry?
I'm just thinking, I'm heading over to the West Coast now where um that'll be I'm gonna really have to get my skills up in this area.
Yeah. And it's going to be, you know, this is like, there's going to be sometimes there's some things that we're really great at. And then there will be moments where we're like, oh my God, right?
Well,
So,
so I'll give you an example, a recent one. I get my eyebrows done regularly by this girl, and I won't bring up the topic, but she brought something up, and I asked her, and it was very triggering because it was um, just it was loaded with misinformation, right? And so I asked her if I could ask her a couple questions, and I find out that she gets her news from TikTok,
yeah,
and that she was totally unaware of the genesis of something that was going on. And I had multiple choices. I could stop seeing her, I could do that, but it was just like, because it's something that hits personally, close to home, but it was an opportunity, and I just asked permission if I could share a couple things with her. And I asked her, I said, look this one thing up, and you can learn a little bit more. But it was like, it was so triggering. And everybody's like, why didn't you get more upset? I'm like, because, I mean, it's not her fault that she doesn't know to check things from multiple sources, right? And so I had to try, I could have been in judgment, but I chose to be in empathy.
exactly. Brilliant example.
And
We
that
had a great,
doesn't leave scars,
yeah,
right?
and
The
it also,
alternative leaves scars.
yeah. I mean, I love that I have friends that have different views and we can talk about it because I've learned some things,
Mhm.
right? And but yeah, with her it was really interesting because it was um but it was also to me shocking that I'm like, you really get your news from TikTok. And so I was really trying to not be in judgment in that mode, right? Because that's a hard one. It's like, I mean, we look at like 4 different news sources to get cross-pollination, right? And
Yeah. But not
um,
everybody does that because they don't have the emotional intelligence to do it.
yeah. But yeah, it was when I was talking to someone, I said, I said, I'm obviously not the TikTok generation, but I didn't realize that that was a place to get news. So it was like,
In Canada,
whoa.
we're not allowed to have US news. It's the only way to get it.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my sister lives in Montreal and she was telling me that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A
So,
lot people don't know.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So if we go back to um this conversation then, we want to make sure that we are influencing positively.
Yeah, so that was a great, for me, that was a good example of that.
Yeah, great. So we want to make sure that we can, our actions are positive, our decision making is positive, that we are not feeding the machine, right? Because you guys know what I mean by that. It's just really difficult right now. So remember that everything that we do, somebody's going to see it, whether it's online or you're at a grocery store, right? For me, I believe it's all connected. So I always try to take the higher road for all of it. Even when I don't want to, like, I really try hard to do that. So the other one too, then, is decision-making composite and cultivating client autonomy. So if we have a lower score in this area, then the challenge is going to be using emotional information effectively. So and if we cannot use the information effectively, then we're going to really hinder the support that we have for our clients, right? So we want to make sure that we allow them to talk about how they're feeling about something, how it's affecting them, what their reactions are to it. But if we're struggling ourselves, that is going to be really hard for us to be able to be with what they're being with and support them moving forward, right? So, and then if we do have a higher score in this area, then that means that we're incorporating all the emotional insights into the decision-making process, and it'll help us better help our client, right? And then when we talk about, and so the coaching application there is leveraging emotional information and decision-making to support clients in setting their realistic goals and also setting realistic action steps. And then objectively, and we want to encourage them, right? Encourage them and challenge them when necessary. And then as far as the stress management part, if a lower score could imply that there's just difficulties in coping with stress, right? And potentially affecting a coach's resilience and ability to maintain composure under pressure, right? A higher score means that you're able to tolerate more stress and be more flexible, right? And that you're going to be, which is essential for managing the emotional tone of your coaching session. So we want to make sure that, and also if you're higher in this area, then you're going to be more resourceful when should something change, right? You're able to think on your feet a little faster. So and it's always going to be based on being present. It's going to support you in being more present. So a coach with really good stress management can model coping strategies, aligning with the coaching mindset, right? Embodying and demonstrating the coaching mindset. They'll show an optimistic outlook. They'll be adaptable, which will help inspire hope and resilience. And our clients will ultimately, you're going to be promoting them to look forward, look at a different perspective, right? And so on page 4, you'll see, and actually, let me just show it to you guys because it probably might be a little bit easier if I do that for you.
I have it up on my screen.
Okay. I will still do that. It's gonna be that one. And then all of these will have subscores. So you're gonna see that a self-regard and coaching confidence, right? So a lower score, oh, I just moved that page for me. So a lower score in that area, and reminder that this aligns with the core competencies, let me back up. So subscales are also going to be part of that score is what I'm trying to say, right? So they're going to, when you deep dive into the subscales, it'll be very clear what areas you need to work on, right? So when it comes to the self-regard, right, a lower score there says that you kind of need to raise your competence and your sense of self-worth to provide that safe and competent presence for your client. So the way that it can look is that you're a little bit cautious in your approach. You don't, you may not ask the hard question that you want to ask. You might let opportunities pass you by that would be really fruitful in moving the conversation forward, right? So the first session with the client is always going to be a little off. It's always going to be a little weird. You're getting to know them. You want to know, like, can I say this? How should I say this to this person? But then as your relationship goes on, your confidence is going to get better with that specific client because your relationship has become stronger. So if you're still struggling and you're not able to on a regular basis, like ask them the questions, the hard questions, like, you know, dig deeper with them, then that's going to be based on your own coaching confidence there. So a higher score means that you're able, like you're empowered as a coach, that you understand. I mean, the way that I look at it is that like you understand that you're going to be able to handle any emotion that comes your way by asking that question, right? A lot of times, especially newer coaches, don't like when our clients like show a lot of emotion. They may not like their clients crying. They may not like, you know, getting their clients to a place that's a little bit difficult for them. And one of the things that we always tell people is like, you kind of want them to have that release because they don't have that anywhere else. Right. And I know you guys have experienced this before where if your client can't express half the stuff that they're saying to us, right, there's nowhere else really sometimes that they can actually express that. So we want to be confident in our coaching that we're actually providing support to them and having them become that we're really encouraging them, right, toward self-empowerment. And as far as the self-actualization and goal-oriented growth here, so where our coach can benefit from focusing on personal growth and long-term aspirations, right? If you have a hard time doing that, then it's going to be hard to kind of coach somebody around that too. A higher score is really ongoing for personal and professional development, right? I believe that that's something that's never over. There's always going to be another area to uncover. So we're life learners when it comes to really empowering and bettering ourselves. And so for that, it can help a coach support clients in setting and achieving meaningful goals, right? And goals that are in line with core competency 8. And then as far as the self-awareness and reflective practice, a lower score means that I need to, we need to deeper their understanding of their own empathy and their own understanding during a coaching session, right? Like we need to understand, like, why am I squirreling, right? A higher score means that you have an awareness and that you're able to express crucial insight for your client. And then if it comes to emotional expression and authentic communication, a lower score there it's going to show that you have a difficult time expressing your emotions constructively, which can result in a not so open dialogue. But if you have a higher score there, then you're really comfortable expressing your emotions, right? You can facilitate a transparent and honest coaching relationship. And what that's going to do is it's going to encourage your clients It's going to encourage your clients to achieve success because you've created a trusting environment with them. And that in turn will have them maintain their agreement, right? They're going to want to do right by themselves because they also want to do right by you, right? And then as far as the assertiveness and empowering dialogue, it may indicate that we need to develop our own abilities to communicate our beliefs and our feelings assertively. So, the tendency could be that we're shy about talking about certain things, or that we express our own thoughts or us expressing our own thoughts and feelings, right? A higher score usually reflects our ability to state our perspectives, our perceptions, our goals, our wants, our needs, in life and in coaching. So that's really crucial for maintaining a clear and respectful boundaries, which is key for our clients and also in our life, right? So it'll provide a balanced approach to for us to be able to even coach up, right? If we're trying to move them forward. It'll provide a balanced approach to assertiveness that allows us to empower our clients to speak up for themselves again. And then there's also, I would just want to make sure and see where we are on time. Okay. And then there's also interpersonal relationships and connection building. So if it's lower, it just means that we need to focus on building better relationships, better connections with people in our life, with our clients. So if we struggle with interpersonal relationships, right? Have you ever had somebody in your life where you're like, you can't talk to them, right? Then if they imagine somebody in your life that is just doesn't want to even engage in anything emotional, imagine them being a coach, right? Like it's going to be really hard for clients to speak into that, to get emotional around that, because they feel that they need to maintain that composure, right? But we want them to be able to open up. So, and we do that by connecting. And so if you have a low score here, you're not connecting with people. And I'm not saying you guys, I'm saying people, right? And then a higher score means that you're better able to connect. You're able to gain the kind of gain and provide the kind of support that your clients need, that you're going to also create a supportive environment. And you're just ultimately mindful. You're mindful of them, you're mindful of yourself, you're mindful of other people. And you're going to be mindful in your coaching. And then the other is empathy and compassionate engagement. So a lower score here means that we need to develop a greater understanding and sharing our feelings with other people. So sometimes, and also handling other people's emotions. So other people's emotion, if you have a low score here, they're going to overwhelm you. So, we don't know what to do with it. We don't know, like, we don't understand. We don't understand like why they feel the way that they feel. And we don't understand why somebody is being so overly emotional over something, right? So we sometimes dismiss it. We're like, yeah, right? Or you continually see like mull it over after it's done. Like, how can I have handled that differently? Or, so it's either one of the extremes, right? You either become obsessed about it or you don't think about it at all. So we want to be able to, again, have that balance there for ourselves and our clients. And we want to be able to understand that everybody has their own emotional needs and the way that they express themselves. So we want to make sure around this conversation that we're not coming across as judgy, right? So, and the balance is going to make sure that that does not happen. So a higher score here means that we are just naturally empathetic. that you can really feel where somebody is. And that will ultimately allow our clients to express themselves, their own emotions, right? We're okay with expressing our own emotions. And the coaching application here is going to be that we can use the same perspective to get our coaching questions. Are the approaches that we have, or what our client needs individually, right? It's going to be very clear for us. And then the social responsibility and ethical coaching. Lower score means indicate an area of growth in contributing to the welfare of our clients and the community. A higher means committed to social well-being and ethical practice. The coaching application here is going to be a high sense of social responsibility and standards, and being a contribution to the client, to society, and like look at the code of ethics and like the content and the specific language, right? That we're here to help society, and that we're not, that we're just not negative. How many times are you on social and you just see negative stuff and you're like, scroll, I don't want to see this person, hide it. I mean, I know that's what I do. Like, there's enough negativity around. I don't need more. So we don't want to take away from society. We want to actively increase society. So that could be your local neighborhood. Like right now, we're in the middle of dealing with hurricane aftermath. And it's like a community either comes together and they don't help each other out at all, right? And so we got flooded, and we've been trying to clean up for the past 3 days. And it was really great to just have people come by and just be like, do you guys need something? Even though they're in dire straits too, right? So think about it that way of like, if you were in a crisis, how would you respond, right? And then you'll see, and I'm sorry, this one's like heavy. It's a heavy class today, and I usually preface it and I forgot to do that. But problem solving and effective facilitation is another one. A low score here, that you might struggle with integrating emotional insights into problem solving process. A higher score there, maybe you're proficient in utilizing emotional information to facilitate problem solving for your client. The coaching application for that is consciously incorporating emotional awareness into the decision-making process. As far as reality testing and objective analysis, this is you may potentially have a hard time staying objective. You know, we have our own feelings of it, but we might pass our own feelings and emotions onto our client, right? And it could ultimately impact your relationship and how you move forward. A higher score here means honestly that you're grounded and realistic, right? And that you're going to support your client and you're going to maintain your professional standards. And ultimately, you'll help your clients see things clearly and not based on what you think, right? It's really about them. Impulse control and thoughtful responsiveness. So sometimes you may act impulsively, right? I know that I do that when I shop, right? Like if I see something, you're in TJ Maxx and you see a really nice bag, I know, or shoes, I'm a shoes addict, right? I don't think about a budget. I'm like, I want them, I buy them. And then sometimes you have buyer's remorse, right? That is like, it's a simple example. I could always return them. But imagine if I asked a question or did something that I didn't think what the outcome was going to be or how it would land, right? So we want to make sure the way we go around that is that the best way to think about that is the impulse control has a lot to do with how present you are, right? Because if you're present, then you can have that conversation of like, okay, is this really the best thing, the best decision, right? So higher score means you think before you act, right? Your responses are measured and they're appropriate. The coaching application here for that is going to be that you're going to remain focused and composed. And you're going to be able to provide a stable coaching environment for them. The other ones is flexibility and adaptive coaching. Then there's stress tolerance. I want to make sure that we have enough time. The last one that I want to go, so then staying optimistic, right? You guys are fine with that. Stress tolerance, what the impacts are of being stressed out. But ultimately here, the happiness and coaching satisfaction, right? A lower score means that you need to address your own well-being, right? What we want to make sure is that if you're not scoring high in happiness, or at least in the middle of the road, then that means you're not satisfied in life. And that's true for our client too. So it's really hard to be a good coach if you yourself aren't happy and fulfilled, right? So we want this score, which is the ultimate score out of everything that we've covered right now for today, in this class so far, we want this to be as high as possible, because a higher score means that you are content, you're fulfilled, you are you've done the work to set boundaries, to know what you like, you work toward achieving the things that provide you happiness and fulfillment, right? So this goes along with evoking awareness, core competency 7, right? How happy a person is ultimately associated with how aware they are, right? So what we want to do is, I want to go over what this looks like now that we kind of did all the hard work of going through this very lengthy list. I'm going to, is this mine or this might be, yeah. Okay, so this is how you're going to look, and I'm just going to share mine with you. So I am okay with that. Okay, so this is the report that I received. All right, and you're going to see, well, this is the report. So it will actually show you who it is, when they took it, and then here is everything we talked about, right? So you're going to have your 5 key scales and then all the subscales. So now you could kind of see how that works out. And all of that will impact, right? Here's performance, emotional, social functioning, right? And then it gives you what all of them mean. And then it gives you a score. Now, before I show you guys this, the one thing that I want to say is when I took this, so I took this on February 24th. I'm going to share a little insight. At the time, I started my treatment for chemotherapy. I was moving my parents. My father just passed unexpectedly, so I was planning his funeral. And we also sold our house and moved all within a week, right? Like everything in February for me came to head all at once.
And you're in school.
And I was in school and I was working, right? Okay. So, and this isn't oh, I'm so great, but like, this is one of the things, right? So if you look at the score, the one that I want to, so you'll see they're all they give you scores, right? But the one thing that I want to show you is that with all of that going on, I was still at a higher range on the stress level. So like, I want you guys to think about how much that took, how much work that took. And I didn't think anything of it until I saw this, because I was like, okay, so all these things that we're doing, all these personal development stuff, all this self-reflection, the meditation, all the things that I know that you guys know are so important to do. I'm like, okay, then they paid off, right? Because I was stressed to the nines, but I wasn't allowing it to impact me. Right. And yeah, there's areas that I'm not so great. And you'll see. So if we do self-perception, right? Self-regard, respecting, I could be higher there. If we look at assertiveness, communications, feelings, belief, not being offensive, right? I'm at a lower score there. If we look at self-regard, 121, I could probably do better, right? And then you'll see it'll give you emotional implications for what that means. And then here, hold on. It'll give you an insight as to that. Emotional awareness. Hold on. Stress tolerance. Emotional expression and what that means. Hold, please. Assertiveness, communicating feelings, belief, non-offensive, where I am. So what the score means, it'll do that. It'll give you emotional implications, social behavior applications, independence, right? I could probably do better.
Where's the happiness score?
It comes all the way at the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So then it gives you everything. So you guys are going to get this. It's going to show you. So let me just keep going. Problem solving. Reality testing. Hold on. Impulse control. Here's my impulse control. I could definitely get higher there. Flexibility. Stress tolerance. Optimism. Well-being. So then out of all of that, how satisfied I am with life. I'm still at a 120, even though my heart was broken. I have massive, my body's like in turmoil, right? So, and then it gives you kind of like a breakdown of it all, right? And then it'll tell you then what Cheryl is going to support you with is like, okay, what are some goals that we can do to get this to a higher score based on everything that we looked at, right? And then again, here's those self-regard, optimism, self-actualization, interpersonal relationships, right? And so then you will go through and create goals. So I'm going to stop sharing there for a second. That was a lot. Sorry. Again, I should have told you that that was coming. But let me just show you one more. Where is hers?
It's like I feel like I need some decompression before coaching.
I know. Give me a second. I know it's a lot. It's a lot, but I promise this is the only class that's like that.
Well, it's just the ability to absorb it, right? It's just something that's gonna have to come in pieces and just, it's just,
Exactly.
I mean, each thing you're saying, I understood as you were saying it, but the ability to absorb, 9 pages of stuff while you're doing it and retain it.
And the purpose of this one is to just have a realization. So that way, as the rest of this class goes on, where is, okay, here, I'm going to show you one more. So then to have the awareness as the rest of the class goes on, you'll see that we pick up on some of these as well. And then I promise we'll go to break. But I want this file to open up and let's see if it does.
It's less about memorizing too and just bringing an awareness to something that we do naturally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's also like when you take the assessment, you'll at least have, again, it's about awareness. It's just like recognizing like, oh, look, I'm activated right now. I don't like what that person said. Or, you know, I'm making it mean something. Just to get the self-awareness around it. So that way, let me see. This is what I'm trying to share with you. This is just another example. Can you guys see that? So if we go through here, this looks much better. But do you see how like assertiveness, problem solving can all be better? Stress tolerance, right? And then they'll go through just like we looked at. So this is the overview of the results. It'll break down every single one of them like we talked about. And then I'm just going to go to the end. So when they take all of those and measure the happiness score, so then out of that, she's at a 118, right? So it'll then give you more insight as to what you can do, right? And then Cheryl, like I said, we'll go over all of that with you guys. Any questions around any of that?
You talked about using it for us, right? Getting our own assessment and then using it for action planning ourselves and bringing our own numbers up. But you also talked about using it as a tool in our coaching. So it being an offer, part of our offer. How does that part work?
So if you do provide it, you send them the link like you normally do. I don't know what the cost is on that. It's something I will ask and I'll find out. And then you're gonna get the in-depth report, and that in-depth report is going to share with you some tips and tricks on how to get people to elevate their level. And it's also something that you can do to help coach them around it. So like say you see that they are not a good problem solver, right? And they have an issue at hand, then you could support them in that. So even just using it for your knowledge base of, you know, having in your back pocket of like, okay, well, you know, Holly struggles with assertiveness. So then it's something to look for me, like it's something to listen for, like where is she not being assertive? Where is she, you know, maybe backing down a little bit, not being outspoken about something. And you could work on it together with your client because they're going to get their report just like you're going to get yours. And then you'll have a report for them that's more in depth. That gives you different scenarios and ways to improve it.
So then
And
we need training and certification in being able to provide this tool?
No, I gotta ask. Sorry that I haven't asked that. Let me ask her right now. For the EQ test,
I'm assuming because it'll have a license, so we would need some kind of certification or proof of status or something. Like if I have a yarn store, if I'm gonna sell yarn, I have to have a tax number that shows I'm a wholesaler before I can.
let's see. I just asked her. Okay. Great question. Great question. Let's see what she says. I know that sometimes some of these assessments do not need certification, but
They're straightforward. Like this one, the reason why I'm wondering, because everything is in there, it tells you what to do.
Mhm.
I can read,
Mhm.
I can follow instructions. There's not a lot of analysis needed on the practitioner's part.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna wait for her to answer. While we wait for that to happen, why don't we take a quick break? We'll reset for Allison to coach you, Bonnie. But before we take a break, anybody need anything? Other than going for a couple of laps because I just bored you with a whole bunch of information.
Well, no, it's just it's just nervous system overload.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So one of the challenges I'm having
Mhm.
is coaching while being judged. I feel like I'm not showing up as myself. And
Yeah.
that performative aspect of it is hindering me just being the coach that I am. And so one of the things I was thinking about, like, how could I do that? Before the pandemic, I never coached on camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I felt like I was actually more emotionally aware because I could feel everything and hear everything.
Mhm.
So I don't know if it's okay to say maybe coaching off camera today.
I mean, you could do whatever you want. I I feel personally I have a hard time connecting with people when I'm not
Okay.
looking at them.
Yeah.
So you could do
Yeah,
it
I think
however
I
you
said,
want. I
yeah.
would advise against it.
Okay.
And I know it's a thing to get used to. But I promise you by the time this class ends, you may feel differently. I'm going to tell you that, I mean, I coach all the time on camera to students, and I have students evaluating me. And as the person facilitating the class, it's a lot of pressure, right? Because they expect perfection, and I'm human. And
Well, yeah.
I
No,
might miss cues. So I have to tell you that I still too am like, okay, this is weird for me.
yeah, well, for me, because, I have really strong intuition and empath, and I can feel like
Mhm.
I'm more attached to them when the camera's not on.
Okay, if that's your
But,
preference.
but you know what? It's something that my clients want the camera on, so I need to figure it out. I love when a client's like, can we just do phone? And I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
and just get like nobody's
But
judging here, right?
I
And
know, well, but I am, right? And that's my control to focus on just coaching. And, like right now I have like the whole list like spread out over here and like to put it away and not be looking at it and just to coach, right?
do that.
Yeah.
Do that. And then my job is going to be like, okay, these are the markers that you got, and these are the markers where you need to
Yeah.
improve,
Oh,
especially because
yeah.
you're going for your PCC and you've done this before, right? So no stress. Stand in faith. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm just naming it, right? You should name things when they show up. So I'm just naming that there is a performative pressure I feel coaching this way.
Got it. I got
It
it.
feels unnatural to me. And so it's part of my emotional intelligence and control to manage myself through that process, but I wanted to name it. So,
Perfect. Thank you. So let's take a break. Let's come back at 40 after,
okay.
um, and then we'll get started.
Okay.
Does that give us enough time? 40? Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that'll be fine.
okay.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Bye.
So are you guys okay from the hurricane? I don't know what part of the town you're in.
Oh, we live in Tampa.
No, which part? My family was in Upper Tampa. Are you in Lower Tampa?
I'm in actually Dunedin. Now we're in Dunedin. We lived right down Channel side. But we moved to Dunedin. We're literally right on the water. So the town got pummeled. We're right north of Clearwater.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were lucky that we only have water in our garage, but I had
Oh,
just
wow.
all my mom stuff in boxes. So it's been a mess.
I'm sorry.
The
It's
winds were insane.
Sorry?
From what I heard anyway, the winds in this storm were insane.
Yeah. And honestly, we weren't here. We were out of town. And so I had told my neighbor, I'm like, look, if you think it's going to flood, like, please move our car. And the water came in so fast that within 10 minutes, there was about 4 feet. So, yeah, luckily I have a Jeep. So everything was combined and nothing got ruined. It still works. But yeah, it's not pretty. Clearwater Beach is like devastated. Our
Oh,
beach is,
some friends. Well, they're like, I met them through friends and we're connected on Facebook. Their house is gone.
yeah.
They had
a
enough
lot.
warning to get everything out. They said everything of valuable and personal we got out, but their house
Yeah.
is gone.
Yeah. All the barrier islands are like destroyed, which is really
Yeah.
sad.
Why do
Yeah.
people keep building back the same? It's like we have an area in northern Washington here called Sumas, which is guaranteed to flood.
Mhm.
And people build the homes back, and then why not build them up?
Well, here they do that. There's a requirement of being at least 12 feet. I think they might have even changed it to 15 feet before any like they have them on stilts and like
Hmm.
before any living space, you have to have so much clearance. So they usually do like a garage underneath or something.
Because otherwise insurance prices are just ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, insurance here is insane. Anyways, okay.
Hmm.
All right, Allison. You got this. So, okay, 25 minutes, no
Okay.
problem. And
So
then,
about 8 after. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And if you go a
Okay.
little bit over, that's fine, but
Okay.
usually 25. Okay,
Great.
perfect. Floor's yours.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to pin Bonnie so I don't see you. There we go. Okay. Hey, Bonnie. Hey, Bonnie. What topic would you like to explore today?
Um, so I was over the weekend sort of taking an assessment of where I'm at, because the last time I coached with you, I had gotten my 3 steps. And the first one was to get some reality, and then a little bit of clarity from that, and then pivot as I needed to. And so about 2 days later, I went and met with a realtor, and everything seems to be coming through. And as I was assessing it, there was like 9 pivotal things that happened from the moment I found out that and like I said, it was sudden that I was going to be divorcing too. And I think I had $5 to my name other than what I'd sunk in the house, to going from housewife to being able to support myself, to getting through the divorce and navigating all that, all the way up to the point where I'm gonna sit in my living room with my boxes and drink my tea. So I figured out there was about 10 steps, and I'm at step number 9, getting ready to move to step 10. And step 9 was getting the house and the financing and all of that arranged. Step 10 is I need to double my income or lose it all. And so as I was riding the mower today, mowing for probably the last time, and I don't know why it's his house now. I don't know why I bothered, but I guess because it gave me something to do while I sat and think. Um, I I kicked and fussed all the way through. Step 9 was buying the house. And at that point, it was like, you just have to take action. All those steps, I did not realize what the next step was going to be. I knew, kind of a general direction, but I thought it was the end of the road for me every time, and yet the next step would come. So here I am, I've got it. I don't have any better alternatives. Renting would have been even worse. I am near the ocean, I'm near the border. It's not perfect, but for a newbie Canadian, I don't even have my citizenship, going from $5 and surprise to, getting ready to move into my house. I'm having a hard time celebrating because I'm scared. This income is the last big step. It's not quite going to plan. It looks like it's doing fine, and then it suddenly drops back, and I can't enjoy what I've done because I'm worried about this. And I know that all the other steps have worked. It's income has always been a struggle for me. Confidence in getting income. When I first started counseling, clients came. I have a very short window of time. I don't know when I'm getting my check from him. I've got 30 days from that date. I know the rules for me, and it's weird down here. As soon as I get my check, it has to sit in the bank for 10 days before I can do anything. I don't get that. He might have that too. I don't know. So I don't know the timeline, but I'm scared. I'm scared because if it was a rental, it's one thing to get kicked out. When you own, I'd lose everything I've invested, which is everything I have from the last 18 years. So I'm scared.
Well, thank you for sharing all that with me and trusting me to share that with me. And I hear that you're scared. And I also hear that you mentioned a few different things. You mentioned being scared. You've mentioned moving from step 9 to step 10. You've mentioned celebrate, feeling like you should be able to celebrate. Is there one of those you wanted to focus on, or something different that maybe I didn't encapsulate?
Well, on the income piece, if I do more of the same, I'm going to get the same. I need to do something different. So right now I have a contract counseling program through a company called Rula Health, and they credential you and set you up with medical, and then they pay you a net sum per session every 2 weeks. It should be bringing more in than it is. I don't have a lot of control over it. So I need to make a change. The options would be, getting a job. And since I have a disability and I've always been self-employed, a job doesn't even make sense. And in counseling, they don't pay. So I can't afford a regular job. So it would be building a counseling practice or starting coaching at the level that I know, which is still helpful. But I don't know how to pull it together fast enough, or even what the first step is at this point. I know in Canada because I know people, but I don't know people here. I don't have a network. I don't have a following. Well, my friends on Facebook, but it's not going to work. So I know people do this. I hear stories all the time. I'm studying different coaches and stuff, and I heard a story of a gal who was in the same boat. She's in the UK. She had a divorce situation, I think. She was renting her house. They were gonna sell, and she wanted to stay where she was. And she was just switching into coaching or changing it or something. And she took a leap of faith and she ended up with a co-signer, the financing, the ability to buy the house, and $10,000 worth of clients in her first month out of the blue. And her message was about faith and believing and just leaping, and I like that idea, but I don't have a timeline to get me there. There's like it would have to be a miracle. Would have to show up in the mailbox. I need something a way to do it. And I'm just paralyzed all of a sudden. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
So in our time together, what specifically would you like us to focus on of all of that?
I need I need some ideas on where I can go here, practically speaking. It's something I haven't thought of.
And when you say here, what do you mean here? Go here, what
As a
specifically?
Canadian in America, I just don't know
Professionally?
America very well.
So, so what, when you say go here, what to do, go here, help me understand in our time, what you want to go here to do? What do you want us to try to accomplish together?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's got to be coaching or counseling, some sort of, private clientele. It's the only thing that I can think of to bring the income that I need. I mean, like I said, I've started, but I need more of what I have, and I need a quick way to build revenue as either a coach or a counselor. I have done private practice, so it's not like it would be, something I'd never done before, but I'm out of ideas and I've been thinking about it for about 8 days straight now. So
So how would we measure if we got you in that moving? So what I'm hearing is you want to be moving towards action, towards creating revenue quickly.
yes.
In this session together, what would be a measure of success that we're moving you towards that you'd like to have at the end of the session?
Well, I'd like to have one or two things to work on and try. Well, try. Trying isn't very effective, is it? I need to do something. I need something that I can do.
Okay.
Because
And
I'm out of ideas right now.
one of the things we want to focus on why it's important now, and what I heard from you is that it's because you have a mortgage that you just took on and you need to be able to be self-sufficient quickly.
Yep. No matter what. Like if I had rented, I would have been the same. I was feeling bad. It doesn't matter whether I rented or bought. The end effect is the same. It's putting a roof over my head. It was actually a cheaper way to go. It just, if I rented, I wouldn't have lost my investment, but then I could have spent my investment on the rent. So it doesn't change the fact that I need to be able to support myself. And it's an area where I've always felt insecure. And I sort of know why that would be more of a mental health piece. So I want to focus on the practical, which is, I guess more of a, don't know if it's a business life coach. If it crosses, I don't know. I don't know. I am a little bit out of, like I said, I'm out of ideas and it's highly emotional. So, I feel a little bit like Chicken Little. And that's not I feel like I can control it. It's not like Chicken Little isn't running across the road in front of the bus or anything like that, but I could go there real easy if I don't start coming up with something to start working on.
So what I'm hearing is you have a lot of emotion, right? There's some fear, insecurities, but that doesn't preclude you from taking action. So, and you said, I don't know what to do. What do you know when it comes to this creating revenue?
Well, I know that I've done it, and I know that people do it. So I know it's entirely possible. I know that it doesn't have to happen tomorrow. I have 2 or 3 months. So I feel like it's a doable time frame. I don't need a huge amount. So if I had 5 counseling clients or 5 coaching clients, I'm safe. So it's not a huge amount. I have skills as far as, building website and, the individual pieces. I just don't know how to string them together.
What's in your heart on who you want to serve?
Well, today I came up with my vision mandate statement. I'll just read it to you so that I don't get it wrong on myself here. Vision wise, so vision succinctly is success reimagined. And my explanation of that is that people have designed success around a thought process that's based on personal power, but too many are compensating through brute force. I believe true power is loving, founded in self-mastery, and is a natural byproduct of beautiful thinkers thinking beautifully. So from that is my mission, which is to help frustrated individuals develop organic self-mastery by restoring the inner rapport and coherence that will clear the pathway and result in beautiful thinking. So I work with frustrated people that have tried things and it hasn't worked, or who are not sure what the problem is. And in my offering, I will have an assessment to find out if trauma is the thing that's blocking people. And then if it is, they need to go a therapy route. But if they score low on that, then they're appropriate for coaching. And so then from there, so I was thinking I would have a counseling practice and a coaching practice. So if you need the therapy, you can go over here. And when you're finished that, you can come over here. Right. So that's where I got to this morning. But basically frustrated people. It's a foundational kind of thing. So I had come up with a 7-day plan that builds a foundation for good thinking. And it sets you up to get more out of any coaching program, actually, because it's about thinking. It would, and then I have, a series of other steps to go through in my own program, but it's complicated. It's going to take me some time, and I can't come up with a simplified version to start with that I can build out on over time. So what do I know? I know lots, and I knowed myself into a corner with complexity.
First off, did you notice that when you described your mission and your vision and you started describing the components, how your energy and your confidence and your tone and your volume all changed?
Yes, because for the first time, I feel like I have a clear picture of what it is that I'm working on. Finally, I just feel like, how do you fit that in 3 months? 5 clients in 3 months. So I'm excited about it, but if I don't get my 5 clients in 3 months, I'll have to put it in a box because I'll be packing to move into I don't know what.
So what is available if you shifted your energy about the clients in the 3 months and the 5 clients and focused on serving? What would that feel like differently for you?
Well, it would feel like I had a practical first step. I feel like I'm trying to take too big a step. And I am not sure whether I don't know. I don't know how to make a starting point. It's a 3-story mansion, and right now I just need the storage shed.
So what I heard was a really beautiful vision, and that the challenge was really more to come up with a more consumable version of it. And if you had that consumable version of it, what would you do with it?
First of all, those 5 first clients will, I believe, help me to have more confidence. It's the make or break. And so it's sort of like the previous 9 steps. Each time I got a step, it was like, well, I didn't have confidence until I was at step 9 and I looked back and I'd seen that I had freaked out 9 times already. And what a waste of energy that was. And so I decided to be calm and curious about the next. So being able to achieve, like, to come up with a strategy just to get those first 5 clients, which will make things safe, will free up a lot of mental energy. For some reason, I woke up with clarity this morning, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting distance out of where I come from. If there's just mental room, I'm not really sure. But by 2 o'clock this afternoon, when I was getting off the mower, I realized, oh, I'm scared again.
Hmm. Well, I'd like to go back to that person that woke up with clarity. If you had a client write a testimonial about how their life changed working with you, what would it say? And they only were allowed to use 2 sentences to describe it.
I'd do it all over again. And if I didn't experience it myself, I wouldn't believe it.
Okay, that was beautiful. Thank you. If they were going to answer 2 questions before working with Bonnie X and after working with Bonnie Y, what would they say?
Before working with Bonnie, I had tried so many things that never seemed to work, and I couldn't figure out why. After working with Bonnie, I figured out what was that missing piece of information that was holding me back and allowed me to pivot and push through.
How does that feel in your body when you say that?
Hence, because I'm my client.
There's this beautiful analogy of there's a beautiful field of snow and you trudge through it. And as long as you trudge the path, you don't have to be through it, but the client can fill in behind you. So you just, what came up with you when I said that analogy? I saw that, your head shaking. What was that?
Well, I don't have to have it all figured out. I just need to be 1 step ahead and 2 for a bit of comfort.
Hmm.
In case I'm tired 1 week or something.
Yeah. One of my favorite coaches had a quote, "Your mess is your message." And in your case, you wrote that testimonial. If you changed it to before working with Bonnie, then after working with Bonnie, to I help people go from this to this, what would that be?
From stuck and frustrated to fully resourced. The biggest complaint I hear from people is just being overwhelmed by emotion.
Mm.
which comes up in the the coaching as well as the counseling domain.
And what does that being overwhelmed by emotion stop them from having in their life?
Well, clarity. The thing is, emotion is one of, it's the most dominant way the brain labels folders when it puts them in the filing cabinet. So when they come forward, they have a message. And when you're overwhelmed and scared and don't know that, you don't ask. And so rapport and coherence, the rapport and coherence piece for self-mastery is the ability to communicate inwardly, which is a skill they train out of us in school. And then the coherence piece is having a relationship with self, a trusting relationship with self, to hear what needs to be done, understand it, and like this calm, quiet confidence to just do it. But I'm coming out of a lot of trauma and stuff all at the same time. So a year ago at this time, I was married. October 1st. My husband had brought home a stray dog, it'd be number 6. And I was working in my shop. And I was scared that this was going to be my reality forever. And I was deeply unhappy, but safe. I just had to stay on the gerbil wheel. It's a year later. I have a different last name. I had to deal with all the heartbreak and all the abuse and everything in the middle. And within less than a year, without even seeing it coming, I'll be living in a completely different home, a completely different income, near my family again, and a little dazed at how fast it changed. So I've had to disconnect in order to cope. And now I have to reconnect. And I'm exhausted. And you can't think clearly when you're tired.
I hear you being tired. I just want to acknowledge that first off, your story is beautiful and will inspire so many people. And then when you get into your thinking brain too, right? There's so much knowledge there. And the gift you have to give is so required to people. People need you. They need you because you survived, you're going to thrive, and you're on that path. So if your mess is your message, what's the message to the women out there that need to find you?
Okay, so I was missing an ingredient. If I absolutely, I'll answer your question. I just need to get through my aha. If I absolutely knew that I was going to be able to help people and that this just needs to get out there because people need it right now, right? Then, you hang your shingle and you move forward. As far as what my story is, it's interesting because, like I said, I started this with $5. I had $5. I had a shop in a foreign country, married to a foreigner, less than 22 months. Well, at the time, I had a 1-year-old green card, so virtually a child dependent on him. I had to pack up my shop, get out of my lease, not get kicked out of my house, set precedents for support, secure a lawyer, secure training, get a job, get a lawyer, get through my settlement, get all my money back from him, keep my stuff, keep my dogs. He just drove by, funny. find somewhere to live, learn the laws, one step after another. And somewhere along the line, develop belief that the last step would come. And for me, it was the lesson was trust. I'm also deeply spiritual. So there's a lot of prayer and a lot of praying and a lot of people praying and a lot of pressing in to a process to heal from the very beginning, not knowing what that was going to be, to kind of a once and for all commitment, which I did. It was hell. It was hell. But looking back, I caused the hell because each step I'm like, oh, it's curtains for me now. I got step 1, but I'll never get the rest. And then I get step 2 and it's like, wow, that was really lucky. So far to go, I'm screwed. And then step 3 happened. And I'm like, maybe that's not it's a coincidence. I'm screwed. I'll never get to step 4. I did this all the way to step 9 before I finally went, might be something to this. And I realized there's a reason why you don't get to know what the next step is. You only get one step, the step that you're on. That's it. Why? Because it involves other people's decisions and they're not made yet. So I can't know what the next step is because those decisions haven't happened. So the key is not knowing, but being able to adapt. It's going to be what it's going to be. And no matter what it is what it is. And so I had to be able to respond to whatever that was. Process oriented. My mind, I wanted to map it all out. I knew what my end result was. I knew I was going to sip tea with my dogs among my boxes in my living room. That's what I knew. But from moving my stuff out of that shop to home, no clue. And did I need to? No. So can it be done? Yeah. No matter how much you think you're screwed. Maybe not. Maybe not.
Repeat what you just said.
Which part?
It can be done.
Yes, it can be. It can be. I started with $5, a foreigner. I should add, my green card is just becoming 24 months old. You can't qualify for a mortgage without 24 months of income. You can't have 24 months of income without a green card. And yet I got a mortgage because there's a way. There's a way.
Say that one more time. There's a way.
There is a way. Who knew?
Well, so if there is a way, and you always find the way, even when you doubt yourself, you find the way, and you're amazing that you did that 9 times so far. So what's the learning and what's the way now?
Well, there's a gap between right now and having my 5 clients. I don't exactly know what it's going to look like, but if the 9 previous times, which did not fail, translate into a 10th, and I have no reason to believe that it wouldn't because I have resources. I'm not waiting for $1 million to show up in my mailbox, right? Something will come somehow, some way. I just don't know what it is. And I don't want, if it didn't happen, I don't want it to be something I could have done and failed to do. I've been very hands-on through this whole process. I can't just say I sat back and watched it. It was very hands-on. I actually had to teach my lawyer a lot of stuff. Would I hire a lawyer again? No, I know my story better than they do. I was more invested than they were. They just took money. Totally different legal process down here. They spell it out for you, right? You just have to put one foot in front of the other. So, but the chances of 10 happening are high. You just don't want to screw it up.
So if the chances of 10 happening are high, and you now have this, I can get it done, and I've getting it done, and you have this beautiful message, what's that step to take to start working towards that?
Realizing that I'm not trying to sell widgets. I have a payload that people need. And it's a disservice not to put my shingle out. And why wouldn't I get people on my shingle? My message is clear. I don't have a fancy program in place, but I could work one-to-one. I could tell you what I would put in my books. The books aren't done. The books take time. The video takes time, but I know what the steps are and I can talk freely about them. Because there's a psychoed component to it. Because the basis for, thinking is skills, and it's developing a library of mental models. And so that's what I work on. But I can talk it, like if somebody called me and wanted to have a 1 hour, I could do it.
I can do it. People
do
want
it.
you. They don't want paperwork. They don't want books. They want you. So if they want you, and you're going to put your shingle out, what does that mean? What's that step?
Simple. This could be just me piling stuff on again, always. Just always piling the stuff on, feeling like I had to put more on to be of value. But dang, I know there's some other woman out there feeling like she got thrown away, that she's done for, that needs to know that an ordinary person with good help and brainstorming skills did take some thinking, and I can tell you the things that I did, right? You just need a little bit of direction and some energy and you can get there. And when you're desperate like that, the energy's there. There's a lot of energy, but it's going in a bazillion different directions, and that's the problem.
I hope you write down what you just said to me, because that's beautiful and that's going to resonate with people.
I don't even remember it now.
Write your story. So as you're, I acknowledge the energy shift and the excitement, and I feel like you're living in the possibility now. And as we need to move towards closure, what resources are you going to give you to support you on this, to get your shingle up and keep you moving forward?
Well, I have to hold on to the piece about having genuine value that somebody needs. Right as I sit today, without, just a simple one-page website even, just a little bit of a story, like that gal that influenced me, right? She was a game changer for me. She kept me going forward, right? So, I need to be that for somebody else, because somebody else is in trouble and is needing the help, and I know what to do. I know how to adapt. But it's just keeping that in the front of my mind, because it slips away. I need to be reminded of that.
So who's accountable for you? Who can you use to who can support you on that, keeping that in the front of mind and reminding you that you have a story that needs to be heard and people need you right now?
I have my friend Christine, who's in one of the other cohorts. I could let her know that this is what I'm needing, and she can just keep poking at me, because I think, the clearer I am and the more confident I feel, the more the steps present, and I just know what to do. It's when I get afraid and I withdraw that everything stops.
Mhm. Well, I just want to celebrate you from the work you've done today and the awareness and the energy. And I want to bottle this beautiful energy you have. And I just want to repeat, people just need you today. They don't need a website. They don't need books. They need you, but they need to be able to find you. So hang up your shingle and let people know, because the message you have is beautiful. So as we move towards close, is there anything else you need today before we close?
No, I just need to lock that in, that people need me. And it's not about me needing to be needed. It's I have a payload. It's my responsibility to put it out there. It's not a question of, I don't know, should I hang a shingle? How dare I not?
Yeah.
Right? So it's just keeping that snarky attitude.
Well, sign me up as someone to support you on this journey in the next few months as well, if I can be of
Thank
any
you.
support. So with that, are you prepared to close?
I am.
Okay, amazing work today.
Thank you.
I know we ran long, Lori, but I didn't want to cut this off.
Yeah, that's okay. So how was that for you?
For me,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I got out of my head and just focused on coaching. I
Yeah.
did focus, the clock was going, and I just finally said, you know what, I'm just going to focus on being in service and stop worrying.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. And you showed up, right? I know you were nervous about all the things, you know what I mean, about this platform and the whole thing and being on camera. And I was really proud to see that that did not impact you.
Thank you.
So strong work at just like getting beyond that, for sure. So if you could go back, would there be any questions that you would ask?
There was just so much there, right? And I think there was the things about, there was a lot of, when every time she did a positive, she put a negative at the end of it, and I wanted to explore that. So that was one area, that how to just stay in that positive and not put the buts afterwards. And there was a few other emotions that I would have liked to explore, but it would have taken, it was really, I was trying to also be in service of her goal. And so if there was more time, there was some more things I would have definitely, if we had an hour session, I definitely had some other places where I definitely would have gone deeper. But I also was trying to create spaciousness for her too, because as she was processing, she was evolving, right? So the one big thing for me would have been to find a way to stay in that beautiful moment, and then not with the buts and the ands and the, but again, there was a clock ticking too. So managing that in the time frame.
Okay. And since we don't have a lot of time, Bonnie, how was this for you?
Well, I didn't notice the butts.
Mm.
My son accused me of that the last time I was up there in Canada too. When you're stuck, it feels hopeless, and you keep reaching out because you have to, but you can get discouraged and feel like, well, even if I reach out, I'm not going to find something anymore. And that's one of the the things I've been telling myself 9 times now. And coming to realize it's not about me and me getting 5 clients. It's about dang, I got a story. I started with $5, and in 10 months I'm moving into a house by the ocean. Come on, with no money. Come on, please, right? Somebody out there needs some non-obvious assistance, because it wasn't mainstream stuff, just stuff you really had to dig for, right? So
Would there
I
be
needed that aha.
so would there be any other question that she could have asked, or you wish you would have been asked?
Wish we'd had time to explore the butt thing, because when I was a kid I was known as nose. Now I'm going to be known as butt.
Well, the good news is that it's recorded. And so a lot of what you uncovered for yourself is going to be available to you. So I recommend you going through and just even getting the language that you were using for your copy, right? And how you're going to go and present yourself, because it was definitely authentic to you. And that's what people want to hear.
Yeah, there were so many beautiful passages in there that would be basically your marketing. So
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, you have your whole marketing right there. You have everything you need to market yourself with you. If you just play back this and listen to yourself and write down those stories, you have everything you need. You've just created your marketing plan.
And
I
so,
need to hear me because I don't even remember what I said.
That's why
yeah,
it's recorded.
that's why I was reminding you.
Is that normal?
Yep, totally
Yes,
normal.
totally normal because you're present in the moment. Yeah. And that's why if we record calls sometimes, even for our clients, if I'm doing when I do my consulting, I tell them, record me, because if I come up with some brilliance, I won't remember it. Because
Exactly.
I'm like channeling. You were like channeling in that moment. And it was beautiful. So I know we don't have a lot of time, but I'd like to know how I did.
Yeah, so, and that's where I'm headed. Okay, so the one thing that, so you hit the markers, like you hit most of the markers in the categories. So you hit competency 3, you hit competency 4. The one thing that I really um when you stopped her and was like, what's there for you, right? When she was shaking her head, right? And you stopped where you were going, really showed that you were present with her when you were giving her the analogy, right? And you're like, what's there for you right now? That's really great on acknowledging like expression. So 4.3. You were empathetic, you showed concern. You coached the person, 5.1, like when, especially when you asked her like what's on your heart of who you want to serve, right? Great question. And then you also were curious, again, with that question, silence and pause for sure. And then exploring emotions, 6.3, like where in your body do you feel that, right? You saw she had something physically going on, an emotional state. And then like you acknowledged her energy shift. I don't remember what exactly it was, but I wrote down, have you noticed how your energy just changed when she got really excited, right? Um, and then, but for me, the take home for you tonight is, and I put it under 6.5, explores perceptions, beliefs, assumptions, right? If a client wrote a testimonial about you, what would it say? Like that was genius. It was a great way to get her away from herself and refocus her on the people she's serving. And then I also have questions on how to questions on expanding. So evoking awareness. If your message, what is your message for the women who need to find you? Right. The only thing is that I like what you added. However, don't forget to ask, hey, can I share something with you that's coming up for me? Right. And then, my coach said to me that,
Okay,
how does that
got
resonate with you, if at
got it.
all?
Okay, I like that. I like that. Yeah.
And then the other one is, and then you definitely like open questions for sure, use concise language, the client talked more, all these things that we look for. And then I have um and then I just liked how you closed it, to be honest, because we're on time. So, as we move to close, is there anything else that you need? Like simple to the point, she knows exactly how to answer that. So how do you feel about this feedback?
Um, yeah, I feel like I did a good job. I think it was a good coaching session. I'm proud of who I was as a coach there. I think that the clock was concerning me, and if it was a real session, we would have had an hour, so I wouldn't have had to. But I also know that she needed to get out these things because she was finding her way,
Yeah.
and she was navigating it. And so even if it was a paying client, I would have gone over. Like I wouldn't have stopped it in real world. I would have asked these other questions, and it's like, what's possible what's possible if you stay with what you created, and what would I think I would have said. If you stayed with what's there and what's not there versus what's not there, what would change in your approach to these things?
Mm,
Something like that, yeah. Something like
Great.
that kind of question, because, but again, I was watching the clock because I knew we were way over, and I know you have, so I was trying to balance that in my head, like just get back to coaching and yeah, so there were a few more areas, but I don't know if I did enough for a PCC marker, but I know I did better than I did last time.
Yeah, it was great. It was good, really good.
Is there anything
So
I missed? I know you said that one shift. Is there anything?
the one that the one that I would emphasize a little bit more too is like the importance in the meeting, like in the
Yeah.
beginning.
But she
Right?
did say that. Yeah, I was running. It took us a long time to get to the topic, and I was managing the clock. And
Mhm.
so there was always that presence there. But yes, because she did say why it's important now, because I gotta make money or I can't pay my mortgage. I did summarize that.
Yeah,
I would have liked to explore it, but again, if it takes us, we only have 25 minutes to coach and it takes us 15 minutes to get to the topic. So I
exactly.
was having a clock challenge.
Yeah, understood. Understood.
So I do agree with you on that. I was looking at that and being like, I want to ask this, but this could, we could take the whole time to get to that. So,
Exactly. Um,
and I think that I do a good job of getting to the topic at the beginning, because I know there was a lot there.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can tell you that by not interrupting me with that question, I understand what the transformational coach book is saying about not derailing the thinking of your client. I
Mhm.
did not want to be derailed, and she didn't.
yeah. But and the other thing too is that you could always go back,
Yeah.
right? Like that's why we're saying this process isn't linear. So like if
Yeah.
you sometimes some people need you to like get the significance of it for them.
Well,
And
yeah.
again, because we're in the same field and with the same thing, y'all know exactly where it's going. But when you're with the client, like they don't know and they're not going to sometimes give it freely. So we need to make, and that's why the markers are the way that they are.
Yeah. Okay. Great. No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Perfect.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I will
Quick
let you guys
question.
go and I will see you Wednesday. Yes.
Quick question. In terms of the markers,
Mhm.
are are we supposed to get all this? Like, for example, marker 3 has 4 underneath it. Are we aiming to get all the underneath it too, or just something from each section?
In here, we want you to get at least something from each section, but as you get higher up, right, from like, once you go to get credentials, you're going to want to hit all of them.
So I'm going from my PCC, so
For
at the
you, it's even more
PC,
crucial.
yeah, for PCC, I have to hit pretty much almost everything. For
Everything.
because I already got my ACC, like, yeah. So this call today probably would pass an ACC.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it might not the PCC, right? So I have to get to this next level of it because of the credential I'm going for in the beginning of next year.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll let you guys go. We're over time. So, okay. I'll see you Wednesday.
Thank you.
Great job, Bonnie.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.